You know, it's very rare in this day and age that I go to the cinema and I find myself completely immersed in the wonders of cinema, being completely taken in by the audios, the visuals, the special effects, being invested in the story, the characters, and just generally enjoying the experience and the ambience of a trip to the cinema. And that happens even less when I go and watch a horror movie. But I've recently seen Nosferatu 2024 at the cinema, and I have to say, guys, I absolutely loved it. I thought this movie was amazing, and I loved every minute of it. And I just want to say a few things about the movie on the channel in a spoiler-free review. So for this video, we're going to be talking about Nosferatu 2024. So Nosferatu 2024, oh my goodness guys, I thought this was absolutely fantastic. Directed by Robert Eggers, who did other films such as The Witch and The Lighthouse. The director that certainly has a unique style, and I'll get onto that very soon. But this movie just almost took my breath away with how good it was, how accomplished it was, how it treated the source material. And I think the thing I'll start with, the thing that I love the most about this movie is just the look and the feel and the atmosphere that it creates. It is almost like no other horror film that I've seen. It is one of the most exquisitely, beautifully made films and just looks absolutely gorgeous. We get some sweeping shots of the Transylvanian mountains set in the snow, dark and brooding forests. Count Orlok's castle looks great, it's creepy, it's claustrophobic, there's all shadowy elements to it. Even the 1800s German streets where the majority of this film is set just look great and look authentic and really transport you to that time period. And the mood that this film sets is just unparalleled in how effective it is. It's just beautifully gothic, it's melancholic, very dark in places. There's even some scenes that look like they're in black and white, but they're not. It's just the dark nature of the movie. A lot of it is set in snowy surroundings, so we have snowfall, which just kind of add to the, I don't know, the bleak sadness of this one that just runs through the movie. Yet at the same time, as I say, it's just exquisite to look at, and almost at times comes across as sort of a dark fairy tale. Very, very elegant in what Robert Eggers does. I think this is his best movie and is the movie that complements his kind of old-fashioned bleak style better than anything he's done so far. The film was just a joy to watch visually, and I was fully immersed in the whole thing from start to finish. Everybody in this movie did a fantastic job. The characters in this were portrayed really well, and yeah, everybody in this just really nailed the role. They're all very, very captivating to watch. Got to start with Bill Skarsgård as Nosferatu, Count Orlok. He was unrecognisable in the role. I have to admit, I would never have known it was him unless I saw his name in the credits. But he is absolutely fantastic in this role. I'm sure he sort of took some inspiration from his Pennywise role, but he takes this Count Orlok role, makes it his own, changes it up a little bit, but was frighteningly believable and really captivating throughout the whole film. And he sort of remains in the shadows for a lot of it, so there's a sense of kind of wonder and intrigue, albeit quite morbid whenever he's on screen. So he was fantastic. I loved Willem Dafoe in this. He was the professor, so the Van Helsing character, essentially. Nicholas Hoult was great in this as a young man that travels to Count Orlok's castle. I mean, he looked genuinely scared upon meeting the Count, which was a great scene. And Lily Rose Depp, who's getting a lot of praise for this, rightly so. She was fantastic as the leading lady. Everyone in this was just fantastic. So what this version does is it kind of takes the 1922 version and completely beefs it up in every way possible, but longer, extended scenes, more detail, more locational detail, as I say, shots of the Transylvanian mountains and countryside and things like that. A bit more of an immersive look around Count Orlok's castle and that kind of thing. Bit more characterization. Of course, the original was a silent film, but more kind of dialogue and discussion between the characters, and also throws in a few additional ideas and notions that weren't in the other movie. Principally for me, the kind of the possession element of the Nosferatu curse I thought was done really well in this, and was one of the most frightening elements of the film. But even though I mostly took association with the 1922 film, there were elements as well that reminded me of the Werner Herzog 1979 version, which I thought was nice. Some of the locations harkened back more to the 70s version than the 1920s one, and even some of the decor and the wallpaper and some of the rooms just reminded me of the 1979 version. So I like that that there was elements of that too for me. And what I really love about this version is it in no way feels like a remake or a reimagining of any of the other Nosferatu movies. It feels like it's its own thing. It kind of improves on everything in kind of a modern way, but in a really good way. It's handled respectfully. There's not even really any kind of nods to the previous films that make audiences think, I know this movie. There was nothing like that. It just felt like an organic, effective follow-on to the movies that came before that, which I was really impressed with. In terms of any negatives, any criticisms for this film, very hard to think of any, if I'm being honest with you. If I really had to say something, I'd say perhaps it flirts somewhat with the notion of becoming a little bit too self-indulgent with its kind of oldie-fashioned melancholic atmosphere, but I absolutely love that aspect of the film, so I could watch that and immerse myself in that all day. I mean, this film is over 2 hours long, and I easily could have watched more of it, so I'm really struggling to find anything about the film that I didn't like. Now, I'm purposely not showing any images of Count Orlok in this film. I think it's better to just go into this one without knowing too much or seeing too much. And in terms of him, just watch as he kind of slowly emerges out of the shadows. It's really good. But as I say, I love Bill Skarsgård's performance in this. It was probably the most human that I'd seen the Nosferatu character. The most humanized version of him. I didn't see him as like a vampiric creature like in the other ones. And initially I wasn't too sure about that or how I'd find it, but I enjoyed the movie so much. I loved everything about it that it wasn't a problem for me. And I like how they've kind of made their own sort of character out of this one. So fair play to them. I thought he was fantastic. So this makes for an interesting series of films now, because you've got Nosferatu from 1922, Nosferatu from 1979, and now you have this new one from 2024. You've also got Nosferatu in Venice, which I should at least mention, but out of the three main Nosferatus, it's very hard to pick a favourite or say which is the better movie. They all kind of stand triumphantly as a great movie and a great sort of time capsule to the time when they were made. So very hard for me to pinpoint which would even be my favourite film. I don't even know if this new one is all that much of an accurate representation of the time it was made, because it feels so different to anything that's out there at the moment, horror or otherwise. But we certainly have three wonderful Nosferatu films out there now, which is great. And it's just absolutely fantastic that in the current cinematic landscape where everything's big, everything's flashy, there's so much CGI, there's so much green screen, the universe is exploding in every single movie nowadays. It was fantastic just to see a slow burn, dark, gothic, fairy tale horror film that felt like it was its own thing, and it be such a good film. It was such a wonderful thing to see. I absolutely loved it. And interestingly, I went with my dad to the cinema to see this. I took Horror Dad, who is very neutral towards the films that he watches nowadays. You kind of get, it was okay, and that's it. And as the credits on this one rolled, I turned to my dad and I said, "You must have liked that." And he said, "That was amazing." So for him to enjoy it so much is high praise indeed. And I'm so glad that he did, because it was a wonderful cinematic experience. So that's just a few things about Nosferatu in my probably overexcited review here. But I absolutely loved it. I'm so glad that I liked it as much as I did. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Have you seen this one? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for more videos.